like the new age of MMA where it's basically like, hey, you got to be able to do everything.
Mhm.
Pereira has shown that, like, nah, I'm just going to do my thing. All right, welcome to another episode of Two Fight Fans, where we talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Collin.
And I'm the other Stuart.
All right, we had UFC Paris this last weekend. Stu, did you watch all the fights or?
Not all the fights. I did
Okay.
watch the main and co-main.
Okay.
I think I saw Brian Battles, mostly his post-fight interview. And then I did see the steamroller get steamrolled.
Yeah.
And besides that, I mean, I saw a couple of other little things, but no, the only two fights that I watched in their entirety, main and co-main.
Okay.
And did you watch all of the fights?
I actually did. I watched all of them. And a lot of the people, I didn't know who they were, but, you know, whatever, that's fine. I did also see Brian Battles' insane post-fight. He took kind of a Hanato Moicano approach with his post-fight speech, and but yeah, let's just get into it. So, the last fight of September, we talked about this last week. Did it save September? Did it make it a more appealing month of fights for you?
Well, I will say I've never seen someone have a shoulder injury that fucked up and still win the fight by stoppage. Like, as much as Hanato Moicano's post-fight speech was about 2 seconds away from him declaring he loves fascism, it was impressive. He is like kind of quietly just kept getting better and is pretty offensively potent, especially in top position. I was very impressed. And then after the fact, seeing that shoulder injury made me go like, holy shit, that's good on him, because that's some big boy shit. That's tough bastard stuff.
Yeah, his like separated AC joint, whatever, like that was wow. Like, bro, I didn't realize how bad it was until after. Like, yeah, I think on Sunday when I saw some of the like the X-rays and the images and things like that. Like, I didn't even know he had an injury like going into that fight. He didn't look like it.
No, well, I don't know if it was like popped out fully then, or if like it got aggravated in. I mean, the amount of like scrambling and switching position and then like heavy ground and pound he was doing, I'm sure that aggravated whatever the pre-existing condition was. Yeah. And I will say, good call on the doctor for stopping the fight, because Benoit Saint-Denis would have continued to keep fighting, but he looked at him and went, no, you can't be fighting blind. You can't see out of your eyes. It's time we stop. I appreciated that, because we've talked about this before. Like, the UFC, just the doctors and the refs and the commissions, they just love seeing people get as close to death as possible. So I was glad that they stopped it.
Yeah, his eye was like completely swollen. I don't know if that was because like maybe he had like a broken nose and like blew out and just caused that swelling. But if it was just solely due to like impact and the cut and maybe a partially broken orbital bone that Hanato Moicano caused on Benoit Saint-Denis, like, yeah, it's like you said, like Hanato Moicano is starting to evolve into this, you know, dynamic striker who maybe can hang in the higher divisions in the lightweight full with all these other action fighters. I don't know, because like, you know, this fight definitely for me kind of indicated, okay, maybe I need to give him more credit, because the last fight I thought with Jalen Turner, I was just like, okay, Jalen Turner just lost that. Like, whatever. Like, this is not like really a demonstration of Hanato Moicano's abilities. You know, it demonstrated his resilience and his ability to bounce back after being, you know, knocked out mid-round. But yeah, against, you know, just the way he pieced up. I mean, the fight wasn't even close, you know, and it made Benoit Saint-Denis look way worse than he actually is, you know? So,
well, and we got to give Moicano credit. Like, Jalen Turner did definitely lose that fight, but like what it did show is that when Hanato Moicano can get top position, in a grappling situation, when he's on top, when he's passing to mount, or when he's in like half guard on top, the dude's got ground and pound. The dude has control. The guy can set up bad positions, because that's how we got Jalen Turner. He got him down. He like was passing his guard and was moving, advancing his position on top, and then got the submission because of that against Jalen Turner, because Jalen Turner made a mistake, zigged when he should have zagged, and he snatched up a choke. So, I mean, that was kind of the same here, except he didn't snatch up a choke. He just kept making Benoit Saint-Denis get in worse positions, and any time he tried to do anything, he just punished him relentlessly for it. And you definitely saw it on Benoit Saint-Denis' face. He got fucked up.
Yeah, really badly too. But
yeah, it's that's a tough one for Benoit. What do we do now with these two? What do we do with Moicano? What do we do with Saint Denis?
So Saint Denis, I mean, it's kind of hard, you know. Maybe put him against Paddy Pimblett.
Nah. You can't do Saint Denis against Paddy. No, wrong.
No,
no. It's got to be Moicano versus Paddy.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, so they've been kind of going back and forth for a while, but like, whatever. I mean, okay, that'd be a good test for Paddy, but also, again, it could just be another thing where, like, okay, Renato Moicano goes back to Donkey Brains and then just allows Paddy Pimblett to ascend up. You know, I kind of want to see more Renato Moicano test himself against another dynamic striker in the lightweight division.
Okay.
Like Dan Hooker or someone.
God, I feel, dude, Mateusz Gamrot, who's a far superior grappler to Renato Moicano. He's not as dangerous, but like in controlling a grappling match and making sure that like he dictates the terms of a fight in a grappling scenario, Mateusz Gamrot is way better than Renato Moicano. And so I feel like you just are immediately, you're kind of, I mean, if he does want to climb the ladder and try to go for a title shot, which it sounds a little crazy to have Moicano get a title shot, but
it does, but you know, like,
yeah, that could work.
Been here for a while, and you know and like we've talked about, the lightweight division it's in this weird like 2-year flux where a lot of these top contenders might suddenly just be gone, either because they retire or they fall off because of like how their performances are, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you could. I think the overall appeal of having it be Moicano versus Paddy is like, we know it's like Paddy continuously just out grapples old fighters, right? And he's out grappling old fighters who are not particularly good grapplers. So actually having him go up against a potent grappler who can deal damage and gets finishes, that actually, if Paddy wins that and wins it via grappling, or even if he outstrikes Moicano, because Moicano doesn't have bad striking, that then feels a lot more legitimizing than the weird-ass Bobby Green fight where Bobby Green was like, what if I shoot and try to take you down? Even though he's not shot a takedown for like 9 years, right? Like, and also just the amount of insanity that Moicano would bring to the build-up to that fight, I feel like would be very entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I feel like Dan Hooker needs to fight like Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier, like one of the top action fighters again. Though Moicano is slowly building himself up as an action fighter.
Yeah.
But he's lost when he kind of reaches that upper echelon, like Fiziev, like those guys that are actually kind of floating just outside the top 5.
Right.
So I think I want to see the Paddy fight. Like, because if Paddy wins, I'll finally go like, all right, well, you did it. Like, you finally did it. And if Moicano wins, great. Good. That's what I want. But
so it's a win-win for you then.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Saint-Denis should just he needs to just take a year off. In this year, he's gotten knocked out by Dustin Poirier, and then, I mean, hellaciously beaten by Renato Moicano. Like, he needs to take like at least a year and just kind of like, you know, let his brain and body heal before coming back. Because this was a rough one, and especially having that coming off that Dustin Poirier loss, that's not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Renato Moicano, great. Like, it was, and he clearly scouted well, because it was Benoit Saint-Denis, I think, because I think the first round, the takedown came Santini came out. He always throws that left body kick, and Renato Moicano parried it across his body, and then like immediately kind of like took an angle on him and got, I think, into a clinch or into like a body lock, and then took him down from there. And then that whole first round, he just got his ass beat so hard that it pretty much carried over into the second round as well. So like, yeah, it was clear that like he had scouted, hey, this kick's coming, this is the defense I need to use, and then this will be how I get in to take down Benoit Saint-Denis. Because although Renato Moicano is a really good top game grappler, his bottom game is not as good. He can initiate scrambles, but he kind of took the initiative right off the bat in the fight. Impressive. I mean, the guy, his post fight speech was crazy pants, but yeah, it's.
I actually didn't hear his post-fight speech, so give me the cliff notes. Summarize it. It was crazier than his previous one.
Oh yeah, he was like, the government is terrible, Macron is evil, democracy.
Oh, in France.
Yeah, democracy is a fallacy. That was a big line that he had. Democracy is a fallacy. Fuck the globalists. You need to take back your country from like the secret. He like alluded to like a secret government. Right, he's got like a weird QAnon. Democracy isn't real. Strong men must lead. Fascism is great. Hitler had good ideas. He's definitely going down that path. Yeah. So, anyway, I don't think he'll be invited to fight in France again after this. But yeah, it's he's a character, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll be interested to see where he goes from here. He probably needs to rehab that shoulder. But now he is like, he's an exciting contender in this division. Yeah, let's see. He's been on a good run. Like, God, maybe he'll be able to like actually turn this into something. Yeah, he's at number 11, but then above him is Max Holloway, Rafael Fiziev, Mateusz Gamrot, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, Dan Hooker. Like, people where it's pretty steep as you climb closer to Islam Makhachev. Yeah, and he's already lost to Rafael dos Anjos, and I think he lose to Fiziev as well. Yeah, lost to Fiziev, got knocked out in one round. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Patty's a good one.
Yeah,
I would say fight Jalen Turner again and see if Jalen Turner can get that one back. But yeah. Anyway, and then yeah, Saint-Denis seems like he just needs time away.
Yeah.
Let him self-recover a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This middleweight fight.
Yeah. Oh my God. So
tell me about it.
So I was watching this on replay and I was having dinner at this time, and I guess this fight was like not appealing to me at all because I remember nothing from it, and the only thing I can really remember is what I was eating during this fight. Like, I don't remember much of it at all. So like,
what were you eating?
Just some like Chinese food, man. It was good.
All right.
I was more enraptured by that.
Yeah, like real Chinese food or like from Safeway.
Oh no, some real stuff, man. Come on.
Okay. I don't know. That might have given us a good grade on like how bad this fight was.
That's fair.
Terrible Safeway Chinese food. Anyway,
if I had Panda Express.
Oof, brutal. Yeah, Imavov versus Allen. It wasn't a very good fight. That like Allen, Imavov has like good takedown defense for like the first shot or like the first like attempted trip. But then he's a pretty like low output fighter, and Brendan Allen does not have any way to take the fight to the ground and doesn't have very good striking. And so it just ended up being like a low output, not very good fight where Brendan Allen kept like having terrible shots, and then Imavov would sprawl and like Allen's face would go slamming into the canvas, and then Imavov would stand up, and then they dance around and throw like a single jab, no combinations ever, or like just throwing low kicks with no setup at all. And yeah, it was not good. It was like this definitely showed. I was like, these guys would get destroyed by Dricus du Plessis. Like these are not the dudes to be beating Dricus du Plessis. Yeah, no, it was terrible. It was bad. It sucked. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that fight. Yeah, it was a bad middleweight fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, for these other fights, were there any that stood out to you or anything that you were impressed with, surprised with? Brian Battle's, post-fight speech also just fucking wild and
Yeah.
very American of him. So I guess
He's got a
sure.
cool voice. He's got a cool, deep, gruff voice. Sounds like a cowboy telling French people to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I don't really know. His fight was okay. He pieced up a guy who seemed kind of outclassed. And I wasn't overly excited by anything I saw. Maybe he's okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe in a fight or two, we'll kind of have a better idea of what his title or contendership potential is.
Mhm.
The one that did catch my eye was the Frost Ziam or Ziam.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely destroying Frivola.
Dude, that knee was brutal. It
Brutal.
reminded me of Jose Aldo when he had his crazy spinning knee to
Against
knock.
Chad Mendez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was and it wasn't just that knee. It wasn't like it was this back and forth fight and then this knee landed out of nowhere. He was taking it to Matt Frivola, and Matt Frivola didn't really have an answer for anything. He was kind of getting outclassed during the entirety of that fight. And then that knee, it's this is another one where I think Frivola's been knocked out 2 or 3 times in his last four fights or so.
Oh.
It's, and I think he's 36. It's definitely time to take it's hard to know with what these guys' financial situations are, but probably time to take a little break from getting the old noggin smushed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are the only fights I saw. I mean, I saw the video of Eileen Perez twerking at that lady, and then there was some consternation about that. But no, that's all I watched. I was impressed by Moicano. I was not impressed by middleweight. And yeah, besides that, it was all right. It was an all right card.
All right, but we talked about how September was kind of a shitty month for fights. We thought it was going to be a lot better, but does it make it better? Does it kind of just keep it the same? Was this a good kind of summary of what September was like?
It didn't hurt it, I thought, right? It didn't do anything to go see, but I don't know if it really boosted it. I don't know. How do you feel?
I feel like this was exactly what September was all about. Most of it was kind of bleh and kind of squash matches that the UFC kind of set up to prop up other people, whether it was because they're a rising contender or it was a Mexican or French celebration. But there's little spotlights here and there that were okay, this was interesting, this is entertaining, but most of it was just kind of okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A very bleh month.
Yeah, very blah. Hopefully October will be better. Because, September is blah. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about October. The first UFC card this October is coming up this weekend. UFC 307. Now, I know
Salt
you're
Lake
excited.
City, baby.
Yeah, you know it. Some people and some of the reporting around it, it seems like people are pretty down on this card. People are calling this this would be a good fight night card, but this is not a good pay-per-view card. How do you feel about that? Because I gotta say, I think this is a pretty good card in my mind.
I agree. I don't know who is saying that or why they're saying it. Is it okay, actually I can see why, because there's a few names on there that hey, why are we putting them at elevation? Jose Aldo, first of all, why is Jose Aldo coming back? I want to know little details on that, but a lot of these fights, they kind of set up to be bigger, more entertaining, or higher stakes fights. You got 2 championship fights, you got Jose Aldo maybe making a return. I don't know. Kayla Harrison, who was a big name coming up and is probably going to be the next title challenger, so you got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Joaquin Buckley on the prelims, who've always been kind of crowd favorites. So I don't really know why they would be saying that,
Yeah, it's the 2 arguments I hear is basically nobody was asking for Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. It's a foregone conclusion and therefore not very good, which I got to push back on. I'm this is way better than
Yeah,
basically anything else you could do at light heavyweight. This is
but
awesome.
it's also the best fight that we want to see for Pereira because, like, I mean, come on, like, you know, Yuri, sure, like, whatever, being a samurai bro, like, and I don't know. None of the other fights at light heavyweight are interesting to me for Pereira, but
Yeah,
this
I
one
think
is. This is the one.
yeah, I think people want Ankalaev.
Ankalaev?
Yeah, but that like I don't know. That fight doesn't get me excited. I think Ankalaev probably wins, but it's like it doesn't really matter. So
Are
people are
people
saying that
really that interested because they think that Ankalaev can beat Pereira and they just want someone who can maybe beat him? Or are they actually interested in the idea of like, hey, let's see Ankalaev wrestle fuck Pereira? Like,
yeah, I don't know. You might have like a group of fans that are like really into like, oh yeah, the Dagestani style of just like extremely dominant grapplers. That's the real like legit, like they're the coolest in the vein of Khabib and Islam. And then you might also have a group of fans who are like, no, fuck that style. It's so boring. I want Alex Pereira to come in and like knock that out. And so like it's probably like, but it doesn't sound like there's any sort of, I guess, thought placed to like what is the complexion of that fight actually going to probably look like, right?
yeah,
Like what will this fight tell us? And like what does it prove for their ability to win in the division? Yeah, I don't get it. No, this is the best fight that you can make, I think, at light heavyweight right now. Um, yeah, just for pure entertainment value.
yeah.
Yeah,
For pure
exactly.
violence for violence sake, this is like
Yeah,
the most violent one you can possibly. I mean, listen.
yeah.
Okay, I was reading up on a few things here, so like let's talk about Alex Pereira, okay? Because yes, I am a big Alex Pereira fanboy
Mm-hmm.
because like he is such a one-dimensional fighter that like I am just interested to see how far a fighter can take something, like especially in the like the new age of MMA where it's basically like, hey, you got to be able to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Pereira has shown that like, nah, I'm just gonna do my thing. Like kind of like the old days of the UFC where it was very much style versus style, like strikers versus wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
jujitsu guys versus a kickboxer or whatever. And Pereira has just decided to stat everything into devastating striking ability, And I do want to see like how far can he take this? Like it's really interesting to me. And also like just he seems like a genuinely good guy. Like I used to because I am still a very big Izzy fanboy. And I thought, okay, like Izzy needs to conquer this. This is like the one thing that has always just haunted him, just his inability to overcome this fight against or this opponent in Pereira.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I've seen Pereira, the more I've seen him do other things. Like he just seems like kind of a legitimately like cool and like nice guy. And like I don't know, I don't see any like bad publicity or bad things about him so far.
I think there had been some, but then it was more like rumor mill.
Yeah.
So who's to say? I can't speak for like the legitimacy of him being a cool dude. It is cool that, like you said, he just decided I'm gonna have a left hook and roundhouse kicks to the leg, and that's it. That's really all I'm gonna have, and I'm still gonna win a title in two divisions in less than 2 years, or
Yeah.
just about 2 years. That is kind of cool. It's cool to see. And he's not going to be around for a long time, and so his fights are always entertaining. He's never had a boring fight. So that's cool to see, and it's cool now that we have someone who isn't afflicted entirely with the donkey brains of Yuri Prochazka or lack of any skill that is Jamal Hill. So I'm excited to see that come up against him because Khalil Rountree is a very good, devastating striker in his own right, and so
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see because Alex Pereira does have defensive holes in his game and does get hit a lot.
Yes.
And so Khalil Rountree is not Yuri Prochazka who's going to like, you know, plod forward with his chin out and then eat 300 low kicks and have no idea how to check them. He's going to be able to like actually check a kick and then come back with a combination of his own. And like, besides Israel Adesanya, we haven't seen Alex Pereira really fight anyone like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
And Khalil Roundtree, I've been watching some of his older fights. He's fast. He's really fast. He's got really, really fast hands. And I don't know if he has the same devastating one-punch power that Pereira has, but the speed is something that can neutralize like power, and there is no defense for speed really. Like, so I mean, it's going to be really interesting. And apparently Khalil Roundtree is undefeated against kickboxers who have come from the Glory promotion.
But what, he's only fought like 1 or 2 of those, right?
I think he's fought 3 or 4.
Really?
Yeah. I was reading it earlier. I'll double check that, but I think.
Okay. Yeah, because he had the big one that was really, like, I guess, famous or, like, got him some notoriety was when he knocked out Gokhan Saki. But Gokhan Saki was so washed by that point that it's like, okay, yeah, you did it, but, like, you kind of knocked out, like, somebody who should have retired, like, 30 fights ago. But, yeah, no, I mean, he hits hard, and he's violent, and he has a lot more... I guess he has got a lot more, like, kind of tricks in his toolkit than Alex Pereira does. So it'll be interesting to see. But you still, okay, so you're a fanboy of Alex Pereira because you like that he's so limited and seems like a cool guy. But is that like, are you a fan of him, or are you like, I kind of like seeing this weird thing happening, right?
No, I'm a fan of him. I am a fan of him now, and like he does seem to take like he has a respect for the sport, and his approach to it is very it's a humble approach, and I like that. There's too many. I don't like the fact that a lot of fighters feel they have to like take the Conor McGregor, take the Sean O'Malley approach of like just being really fucking loud, and Pereira doesn't seem to need that. Like, he doesn't need to hype himself up at all about it. Like, anytime people have called him out or people have said like, why don't you say this and that? Like, I think there was actually someone who commented about like, or during an interview, you're a double champ now. Like, what do you have to say? Like, you're kind of doing what Conor McGregor did? What are your thoughts on that? And he even said like, I'm not Conor McGregor. Like, I'm not accomplishing what he has done. He already did it before me. I'm just trying to, make the best fights and make the best like opportunities that I can. If I ever get to that point, then you can ask me, but I'm not there. So he seems very humble in his approach with it. So, and it's refreshing. It's refreshing. I like it.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that is also just like he just doesn't speak English very well.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't fault many fighters. Like, it does become tiring, but like the most successful MMA fighter who's ever done it, right? And he like laid out a blueprint for how to do it. Like, I don't blame people for going, "Oh, I should probably copy that," because I'd like to make more than 10 and 10 for my fights.
Right.
Yeah. But okay, all right. So you are a fanboy of Alex. So you're going to be pulling for him to win against Collin.
I am, because also there are greater ramifications for it. Because if he wins, he like the only other option at light heavyweight is Ankalaev, and it also sets him up for a super fight at heavyweight. And it would be cool to see someone go in 3 divisions and not just be successful, but like make history. To see Pereira win at heavyweight and to get the heavyweight title, even if he relinquishes the light heavyweight and just like, I'm not defending this anymore, not to be like a champ, but just to be a 3 division champion, that's insane. Like, and we would, like you said, have to redefine what does greatness mean in the UFC and mixed martial arts, and to do it with, like you said, a very limited but potent skill set is something that it would have to redefine, like, what is this sport then,
Yeah, no, it would definitely be cool to see that, and like I'd pull for him to do it if he can do it. I am gonna be rooting for Khalil this fight, but it would be cool. Yeah. It is weird because I think one of the accusations of this card is there's not a lot of star power on it, but outside of Conor McGregor, who's not really fighting, I don't know who is a bigger star in the UFC right now other than Alex Pereira. I know Sean O'Malley supposedly is supposed to be a big star, but from what I've heard of like his pay-per-view numbers and like how much he sells when he headlines a pay-per-view, it's not very high, whereas Alex Pereira routinely kind of does get a lot of traffic and does sell decent pay-per-view numbers.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
like,
that could also be the whole like heavier fighter versus lighter fighter, you know.
yeah. And he's coming into cards where it's like been advertised for a while that it's Conor McGregor or it's UFC 300. Like he's definitely been boosted by saving 2 cards that had big hype around them.
Yeah.
Prior to him even being announced on the card. Yeah. So yeah, because that had been one accusation is like this is a fight that nobody asked for and there is no star power. But Alex is the biggest star power that there is, and I don't know how much star power Ankalaev has. Like I certainly don't find him entertaining to watch. So
No.
it's like okay, and then yeah, like the co-main is not, admittedly not a great. It's in a dead division, right? And it's nobody really is that interested in. I think at all. Like maybe Kayla Harrison's interested in it, but again, it's kind of like why didn't Kayla Harrison just get the title shot? Like, she's the most interesting thing in this division, so I get that. And
I
then
mean,
for
that is what I'm waiting for in this.
Yeah.
Out of these 2 fights here, both of the women's bantamweight fights.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, in talking about this like 5-year turnover of fans, like it might just be that people just like don't know who Jose Aldo is, or like a decent chunk of the fan base just doesn't know really who Jose Aldo is, or only knows him as the guy who like has kind of been in the bantamweight title picture for a little bit, but you know has never won bantamweight, or they know him as the guy who got knocked down in 13 seconds by Conor McGregor. So I think there's a little bit of that going on. But yeah, no. Overall, I think this is a good card. Like I want to talk a little bit about the undercard because
Okay.
on Friday we're gonna make our picks, right, for the
Yep.
5 main card fights. So let's talk about this undercard.
Well, we don't have to pick up the main card. We can pick.
Oh, anything?
I think we should do at least the 2 championship fights, Jose Aldo, and maybe 2 more, like 2 more wild cards that we've done before.
Okay, yeah, we won't do the Kayla Harrison, Ketlin Vieira one because we know how that's gonna go. Cool, yeah, but yeah, I just want to call out like a couple of good fights.
Yeah.
The card opener, Court McGee versus Tim Means, like 2 really old dudes. Tim Means still pretty entertaining to watch, still out there, super unathletic, in his 40s, getting into clinches, dirty boxing, throwing elbows, like pretty crafty infighting stuff. And Court McGee, he's been around for a long time. He was on the Ultimate. I think he was the Ultimate Fighter winner the year that Matt Brown fought on the Ultimate Fighter. So yeah, he's been around forever. They opened the card, and then the first ever women's strawweight champion, Carla Esparza, is back for her retirement fight. It seems like the UFC is doing her a little dirty, burying her on the early prelims of a pay-per-view that I'm sure they're aware people are not super excited for. That's kind of a bummer for her.
Wait, Carla Esparza is the first women's
strawweight. Sorry.
Straw. Okay.
Yeah, I think I said bantamweight. Strawweight is what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And she beat Rose Namajunas, everyone's favorite. Rose Namajunas. She beat her to win the title. And then Tisha Torres, now Tisha Pennington, is fighting as well, coming back after giving birth as well. So I think both of them had been off because they were pregnant, gave birth, had a child. Here we are, and they're fighting. And I don't know if this is Tisha Pennington's retirement fight, but she's like another kind of like OG in the women's strawweight division. Will this fight be good? Not, but it has some like historical like relevance, and I feel like we should at least like tip our hats to like, oh yeah, you were pioneers in the women's game. And they're stuck fighting before Ovince St. Preux and Ryan Spann, like a fight that you want to talk about nobody asked for. Like, I don't even know if either one of these guys want this fight. They're probably like, why the fuck am I still fighting? Yeah, that's not a good fight. Yeah. And then, like you said, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Joaquin Buckley, that's good matchmaking.
Yeah.
Joaquin Buckley's finally like kind of like on the up and up. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is still a stiff test for fighters who are primarily strikers. So like, yeah, that's good matchmaking. Yeah, and then the main card, I don't know. I think this is a pretty good card. I think on paper this looks better than the Sphere card. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, these fights could all turn out to be stinkers, but I think, well, maybe not all of them.
Yeah. Come on now.
But yeah, it's yeah, I think it's a good card. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
anything that you are like really looking forward to or predicting, or do you want to save that for Friday?
Really, I'm looking forward to seeing Jose Aldo fight again. Right? Like I'm like Jose Aldo, baby. He could go all the way to the top. I'm ready. This is the title run. He re-signed. I'm excited that we're gonna get this Raquel Pennington Juliana Pena fight out of the way.
Yep.
And that Kayla Harrison, Ketlen Vieira will get that fight out of the way so that we can have something happen. It will be a real shame. I don't think it will happen, but it would be a damn shame if Ketlen Vieira came in and kind of like knocked out Kayla Harrison. And then we're just like, all right, well, I guess we're back to this now. Because women's bantamweight is, I mean, it's basically a dead division. There's no interest in it at all. And the only injection of life would be if Kayla Harrison gets a chance to fight for the title. And then possibly if she wins, Amanda Nunes comes back for a match with her. That's the only thing right now. Because bantamweight is just, I mean, the people that are fighting for the title are people that couldn't beat, or I guess Juliana Pena did beat Amanda Nunes, but like couldn't beat Amanda Nunes. Right? They couldn't get title shots when Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate and Holly Holm were champions either. Like it's just they've like just gone through 4 or 5 contenders who then win the title, and now we're like on the 6th
like a revolving door.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, oh my God, there's nothing to be interested about. So hopefully this will inject some life into it. Yeah. And then Kevin Holland's back. That guy's insane and like is silly entertaining against Roman Dolidze, a guy who is like one of the most middle. And it's a middleweight match, so great. You know we love middleweight. This is good. That's what we want. Middleweight.
You love middleweight. You love middleweight.
I hate it, but I love it. But
you love it.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, and then again, we've talked about how excited we are for probably the 2 minutes that the Pereira Roundtree match will last.
Yeah.
What about you? Besides the main event, anything that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about with Jose Aldo. I'm excited for him. I think he performed very well in his last fight. I don't know how many more of those he has, though. You know, and it's because before that fight, we were really worried about like how is Jose Aldo going to go out right now? You know, and we also said, like, at least I said, I'm afraid if he has a return to form or like a really good showing in his last match, he might try to go for another run, you know, and I don't want him to be strung along and kind of dangled in a very competitive division where it just becomes like he becomes another BJ Penn story. Like that's not what I want for Jose Aldo, you know? And part of this is me like putting him on a pedestal of being someone who was so dominant and just this incredible, you know, featherweight champion for so long, of me like watching MMA and UFC in its like golden age, that I just don't want to see an image that's anything less than that. So I guess that's kind of my hesitations and concerns. But maybe he's got what it takes to make another run and make a very, you know, strong run. But I don't know. You know, that last fight was good. This one's going to be a whole nother thing at elevation that has always been Jose Aldo's big kryptonite. It's just anything cardio related. So
yeah, I mean, it is only 3 rounds, which is good. But look, man, Jose Aldo beats Mario Batista. Great. He's already beaten the number 7 contender, Marlon Vera, easily. Beat Marlon Vera easily. So you can have him fight number 7 Marlon Vera or number 6 contender in the bantamweight division, Henry Cejudo. Old ass Henry Cejudo. You don't think Jose Aldo could beat Henry Cejudo? I think he might be able to. Now he's in the top 5. Oh shit. Maybe we just decide, hey, let's just sneak him a title shot. Great. He's on a 3-fight win streak against top contenders. Perfect. He's beaten former 2-division champion Henry Cejudo. Great. Let's give Henry Cejudo, or not Henry Cejudo, Jose Aldo one final title shot. That sounds doable to me. That sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah. But then if he fights Marab or Umar Nurmagomedov, like,
yeah,
he'll just be like
destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he got a title shot. Look, Dustin Poirier came back and he got his title shot and he made a good account of himself, even though he got put to sleep, bashed in for 4 rounds. But it was like, we were like, right on. Good for you, man. You did it. You went for it. Come on, Jose. We can do that. Or if he doesn't want that, fine. Let's just park him at number 10 and we'll just have a revolving door of these dudes coming up and he can just keep smashing them for our entertainment. And then when he loses, they can go, okay, Jose, you can go now. But no, I don't think there will be a stringing along. Because in reality, what have we got? We've got Umar is going to go against Marab. Sean O'Malley will probably fight Corey Sandhagen. Piotr Jan's against Davidson Figueiredo. So that only leaves Henry Cejudo, Marlon Vera, Song Yadong in front of Jose Aldo. He's already beaten Marlon Vera. He could do it again. Right? Davidson Figueiredo, old wash Davidson Figueiredo, also beat Marlon Vera. This is easy. This is Jose's going to get that title shot, baby. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And we got to start. We watched the start of his new title run, and this is just going to be the continuation. It is an elevation, which is rude. Don't do that to Jose. But I think he's got this. I think, this is his time to shine. Yeah, man. It's I'm looking forward to that fight. I think that the main event's the fight I'm looking forward to the most, but the Jose Aldo Mario Batista fight is the one I'm also looking forward to.
Okay.
No, there's good stuff on here. I know Marina Rodriguez, we weren't too happy with her performance against Jessica Andrade UFC 300 when they both refused to learn anything or make any adjustments in the fight.
Yeah.
She's the number 6 contender at strawweight, and like if she wins, she'll probably get bumped into the top 5. So it's like it has some relevance to the division. We won't talk about one of these middleweight fights. We definitely won't talk about the light heavyweight fight. But yeah, there's stuff to be interested in. And then again, right, we are going to have at least one round of hyper violence with Pereira and Roundtree. And I a strange feeling in the pit of my stomach that everyone's counting Roundtree out and saying, this is dumb. Why did he get a title shot? This is so stupid.
Man.
And I'm like, he might, as much as Jamal Hill's a goof when he's like, Pereira does really bad against southpaws, and Jamal Hill, being a southpaw, got bonked really hard and died in their fight. Pereira actually does struggle against southpaws more, and Roundtree is a southpaw, and he's not like Yuri Prochazka going southpaw and going, oh shit, I don't know what to do here, and then just eating 7 leg kicks. Roundtree actually knows how to like fight intelligently from that stance. This is gonna be good. It'll be a good fight. Yeah. Overall, good. But I wanted to call out because we're probably not gonna make picks on these fights. But like, the Tim Means Court McGee, like this is like classic old guy fight. But both these dudes really unathletic, really slow at this point. But like, they still do cool shit. They do cool technique. Like when they fight, they do cool stuff that you don't see a lot of these like young guys who are really athletic and aren't as interested in like learning technique, just like going really hard. But both of these guys have some cool stuff. That Carlos Esparza Tisha Pennington fight won't be very good, but props to them for being pioneers. Yeah, like that's kind of anyway. Yeah, and I guess like we'll get to our picks and our like reasoning because I kind of do want to know. Have you gone back and watched that Raquel Pennington Mayra Buena Silva fight?
No, I have not.
It's free on the UFC's YouTube channel.
Okay.
Go watch it before we talk next time.
Okay.
Now, I will warn you, it's a rough 27 minutes.
Jesus.
It's rough. Yeah. It's a 5-round fight. It's not good. But I think it's important to see it before we pick this fight. Yeah. Anyway, anything else to talk about before we're not going to jump into our decision or like our picks, but like any other like storylines, I guess, that you're interested in for this fight card?
I mean, were there any like big storylines that came out? One thing that was just kind of funny was Pereira brought Sean Strickland in as a sparring partner.
Yeah,
Like,
he's been using him for quite a bit, like quite a few of his fights.
yeah, but like, why?
My assumption is because Sean Strickland like doesn't do anything else other than spar, right? He doesn't do strength and conditioning or
Okay.
like mitt work really. He just spars. So that probably means the way he fights in a real fight is exactly the way he spars. So if you need someone who can keep up like a 5-round pace, well, he probably is good. And you're never going to get someone more kind of defensively responsible who can also throw jabs. So if you're worried about blocking a jab or like getting out of the way of a jab, he's probably a good sparring partner to have, right?
Mm.
So better than like just some big donk coming in and swing. You're not going to get knocked out by Sean Strickland in sparring, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a confidence booster, right? Sometimes you need to spar someone who's like a lot worse than you, so you feel super cool before you go into your fight. No, I guess like we know the answer to this, but it's because Salt Lake City or the state of Utah is paying a site fee for them to come. But like, I just having a light heavyweight title fight at Elevation is silly. Having Jose Aldo at Elevation is silly. Having Kayla Harrison cut down to bantamweight is already preposterous. Having her cut down to bantamweight and then compete at Elevation is just silly. Yeah, and then having your curtain jerker be two old dudes. Like, why are you putting them at Elevation? Stop doing this to these poor people. But it is what it is. It was supposed to be Max and Ilya Taporia, which again is so bizarre having them fight in Salt Lake City. And they were, I think, pretty pleased when it got moved to Abu Dhabi because they didn't want to fight again. Nobody actually wants to fight at Elevation. The only people that like actually enjoyed that were like prime Tony Ferguson. That's about it, right? Like he was into that shit, but nobody else. Anyway, but yeah, that's 307. Like we're gonna like actually make picks. We're gonna pick 5 fights. Like we said, we're gonna do the main co-main Jose Aldo fight, and then we'll each do 2 wild card picks. But we're not going to pick the Kayla Harrison Ketlin Vieira fight because the odds are just too damn big there.
What are the odds on that?
Kayla Harrison is a minus 800 favorite to
Yikes.
Ketlin Vieira's plus 550 underdog. Yeah. No, I mean, this is right. Ketlin Vieira is just like a big, strong lady who has pretty sloppy technique and just kind of like brawls and then uses her size to out grapple people who don't have good grappling. Kayla Harrison is the most decorated American judoka ever and like a legitimate like super athlete. So yeah, that's I mean that's that.
Yeah.
Like it's if Holly Holm couldn't do it, like Caitlin Vieira can't. I mean, here's the thing. It might come out. The last time I made a pick at bantamweight where I was super confident was when Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes, and I lost a huge parlay. So like, it could be the Kayla Harris do exactly what she did to Holly Holm, and then Ketlin Vieira closes her eyes, does a big windmill arm, and just somehow knocks out Kayla Harrison. Like that could like. Fuck it, I don't know. But no, the smart money is that Kayla Harrison. The only issue is like that weight cut. Like it. Yeah. The more times we do that to her, the less likely she's going to be able to do it again. And what a terrible thing if like her body finally gave out and was like, actually, this is the last time, and it's against Ketlin Vieira. Like, why? Why? I guess Ketlin Vieira is the number 2 contender. I didn't even realize this. The number 2 contender in this division.
What the hell?
She lost to Pennington. She beat Holly Holm. Oh, in that horrible 5-round split decision. Ugh. She beat Misha Tate in a 5-round terrible decision.
Yeah.
She beat Yana Santos. I mean, I guess. But like this anyway.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that Kayla Harrison, great. She is kind of the shot in the arm like the women's division needs. especially because the women's division just keeps regressing. We just watched Shevchenko fucking retake the title, and now we got to deal with her more. Ugh, just terrible. Anyway, so we're not gonna pick that fight because we both picked Kayla Harrison. The question is, what round do you think it'll occur in?
Round 1.
Yeah, I think so. Round 1. How do you think she does it? Let's get granular. We're not being held to this like for anything other than anyone who listens to this, and it's being recorded for posterity. But like, get as granular as you think you can.
Okay, I think she just kind of meanders her way forward like she did before, where like it's a very stiff boxing stance, and she kind of like just throws some strikes and moves Caitlin Vieira back into the cage, and Kayla Harrison just goes up and uses her weight to lean against her in the cage for a while, and then kind of does a judoka hip throw to get into side control, and then just moves into like either ground and pound or an arm bar from there.
Okay, good. I think Kayla Harrison, yeah, like you said, comes forward as throwing ones and twos. Caitlin Vieira does the thing where she closes her eyes, ducks her head, and then starts like kind of winging overhands, and is just going to kind of like push herself into a clinch. Kayla Harrison will then like turn head and arm throw or just like leg sweep, outer reap right on top of her. And then Caitlin Vieira is going to try to like regain guard or turtle, and then, or Caitlin Vieira will do that. And I think Kayla Harrison is going to get a choke of some kind.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know what kind,
choke,
but I think choke. I think she's going to choke her out.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I think. But who cares, right? Like, this is the best we can hope for in this fight is that it's mercifully fast. Right?
For both of them. Both of them. Because Yeah.
Just have it be. I mean, kind of like it's a really weird thing because like actually looking at this card, main fight to go 5 rounds, right? Like that. I want that to just be like 4 minutes of hyper violence. I also want the Raquel Pennington Juliana Pena fight to be done in like 4 seconds. I want it to be very fast, but that's probably going to be a 25-minute affair. Which is terrible. And then the Jose Aldo Mario Batista, I think, is probably going to be. It might be 3 rounds, but I think it might only last 2. Like it's this weird thing where I feel like we just are gonna like undulate between like very boring long decisions and then like either skilled hyper violence or just like we've got another middleweight fight and a light heavyweight fight, just like goofy ass 2 men bonking each other, one of them falling over. Yeah. So. Anyway, yeah, but besides that, what do you think? So Juliana Pena says that like if she wins and Kayla Harrison wins, she actually wants Amanda Nunes to come back for the trilogy rather than fighting Kayla Harrison. Do you think the UFC will do that?
No, I don't think Amanda Nunes will come back for that.
You don't think so? Only Kayla Harrison?
I think because like, I mean, Amanda Nunes at the same time is like, I feel like she just like doesn't really care. Because she would have stuck around longer if she really wanted to rematch Juliana Pena, you know?
Yeah.
But I could see it where, like, Kayla Harrison wins against Juliana Pena, and then Amanda Nunes says, okay, I'm coming back. And she fights Juliana Pena first for, like, number 1 contender status, and then fights Kayla Harrison after that.
I think she'd probably just get an immediate title shot. She's the most, like, decorated women's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's this card. I think it's pretty good. I think it promises to have some good stuff. I think the pacing is probably going to be bananas. It's going to be the weirdest paced fight card. Yeah. But should be good. Yeah, and it does set up the way these things shake out. It can set up some pretty glorious stuff, or not set up anything. If Khalil wins and Raquel Pennington wins and Caitlin Vieira wins and Mario Batista wins. Doesn't set up anything.
Well, actually, if Khalil Roundtree wins, that means Alex Pereira can really just do whatever he wants. If he wants to drop back down to middleweight and say like, "Hey, I've got unfinished, I want to take out DDP,"
no.
Or if he just says like, "All right, that's fine. I'm just going to move up to heavyweight now and still go for the 3-division champion." Like,
yeah. So for that, touching on that Dricus thing, are you more interested in Alex Pereira going down to fight Dricus or Dricus coming up to fight Alex? Let's say he gets through Khalil, and then
coming up.
Yeah, I think
what I think it's kind of like what we've been talking about with a lot of fighters. Like Alex Pereira's current fight weight at heavyweight is way better than his middleweight.
Yeah,
and Yeah, I don't know if DDP can like. I don't know anything about. DDP is such a weird puzzle that I
Yeah.
can't make out with his fight style. I don't know if like his weight like that will carry. I don't know. I don't know with this guy.
What if Dricus du Plessis comes up, knocks out Alex Pereira, and then goes up and he actually becomes the first 3 division champion?
I will retire from watching MMA and I
Yeah?
will need to find a new sport and we will need to find a new podcast because this will no longer be 2 fight fans. This will become 2 pickleball fans or whatever the fuck.
Perfect. We'll get really into pickleball. Actually, there's a new curling club opening up down the street,
Nope.
so
Nope.
we could get really into curling.
Nope. I refuse for that sport.
Oh, come on now.
Nope.
Could be fun. There's no Dricus du Plessis in curling.
No, but there is so all right, we're totally off on tangent right now, but like it is so hard for me to see like so like the men's curling team that won or whatever in the last Winter Olympics, they interviewed one of the guys. He said like, yeah, when I saw, curling in Salt Lake City in my like early 30s or wherever the fuck it was back then, he said my Olympic dream was born. I'm like, motherfucker, if your Olympic dream starts when you're already past your physical prime, that is not a fucking sport. Okay? Like, oh, you have like kids who were born started their sport just a little too late. It's like, sorry, kid, you're too old now. Can't do it. Like that is not an Olympic dream.
Hey man, we're all allowed to have dreams. We're all allowed to have hobbies. Alex Pereira didn't like have an MMA dream till he was like way into his 30s. Like, and then he was like, fuck it, I'll try it. I don't know how to grapple. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
But he was just blessed with literal stones in his hands.
Yeah. Well, like maybe I'll be blessed with the ability to sweep ice in front of stones, and then I can have an Olympic dream,
Look.
and I can, I'll go all the way to the top.
Listen, like if you do that, I will be I will take back everything I say about curling.
All right.
And then,
so there we go.
maybe I will re-embrace DDP as the God sent champion for MMA.
That's right. He is the pinnacle of MMA. It's just so painful to realize it. No, I don't think I would be. I am like perversely interested in seeing DDP versus Alex Pereira at light heavyweight now, though. Because I do wonder, like, he does get hit so much, and he did get hit so much against Israel Adesanya, but then he also beat the shit out of Israel Adesanya. So I'm like, damn, I don't know. But first, we've got these fights coming up, and I am interested to hear kind of like how you think the fights will go and what the complexion will be. So join us on Friday when we actually talk and break down at least 5 fights on UFC 307. Unfortunately, one of them has to be the women's bantamweight title fight, but we'll get through it together. Anyway, this has been 2 Fight Fans Podcast. I'm one Fight Fan, Stuart.
I'm the other Collin.
And everyone watch the Tim Means Court McGee fight. This should be fun. All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.